The Philadelphia experiment involving Tesla and Einstein may have successfully tested teleportation through spacetime. Perhaps the Philadelphia experiment is one of the most conspiracy-laden experiments in history. This passage combines the most captivating elements of science fiction, such as time travel, teleportation, Einstein's unified theory, along with enigmatic military secrets. Perhaps it all started with the name Z-Up, an amateur astronomer passionate about writing science fiction. He studied astronomy at the University of Michigan, then developed a strong interest in UFO phenomena and published a series of articles and books on the subject. Maurice Ketchum Z-Up holds a master's degree in astronomy, but for most of his life, he worked only as an auto parts salesman and a portrait photographer. But perhaps he is best known for his articles and books about UFOs. But on April 20, 1959, Maurice Ketchum Z-Up, a 59-year-old man, was found in critical condition in the driver's seat of his car. On the way to the hospital, his vital signs like heart rate and breathing gradually faded away. Z-Up didn't make it. The police concluded this was a suicide, with the cause of death being the victim's self-poisoning using high-concentration carbon monoxide. Because there was a hose connecting the exhaust pipe to the rear window of the car while the car door was sealed shut. When he starts the car, he will suffocate from the exhaust fumes. However, some believe that Z-Up may have been assassinated rather than taking his own life. In the 1950s, a strange package was sent to the U.S. Navy's research facility. "T have any signature, just a short line. The case for the UFO." Strangely enough, all the blank spaces on the title page had been densely filled with annotations. But the wording in it is extremely confusing, riddled with grammatical errors. At first, many might think this is just a malicious prank by someone discontent with the government. As a government-affiliated agency, the U.S. Naval Research Institute receives countless anonymous letters daily, but most are ignored. But this very book caught the attention of the Naval Research Department at that time. According to the provided information, Z-Up has received a request from the Office of Naval Research, ONR, in Washington, D.C. to clarify certain related issues. Both documents were signed by Carlos Orlin. The notable point is that the writing style and technique in these two letters closely resemble the prose used in the book sent to the U.S. Naval Research Laboratory. After comparing the Western handwriting, they could confirm that all these writing samples were done by the same person. But Z-Up's letter contains indirect references to the Philadelphia experiment that took place on October 28, 1943. The U.S. Naval Research Laboratory conducted a secret experiment aboard the destroyer USS Eldridge while the ship was undergoing repairs at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. In the evening, a few sailors could be seen on the destroyer from a distance. Suddenly, a faint, eerie blue light began to envelop the ship. Gradually, the people on the boat began to fade away from Bonn. Before those on the shore could even steady themselves, both the vessel and its passengers had vanished into the void. In a bizarre and inexplicable way, the ship suddenly appeared in North Philadelphia, 479 kilometers away from its original location. The letters also revealed that, even when the ship was completely inactive, it could still move from one place to another. This means the joint space transfer technique has been successfully achieved. However, this spatial transition has severely impacted both the physical and mental well-being of the crew members. Fearing it could affect the ongoing conflict, the Navy halted the test and destroyed all related documents. The participants in the trial were also forced to retire, some of whom disappeared without a trace. Carlos Auland, who signed the report, confirmed that he was a crew member and also one of the witnesses present at the scene at the time. However, the Navy conducted an investigation based on the information he provided but found no leads. They concluded that the entire story was fabricated. At that time, humanity had not yet shaken off the haunting aftermath of World War II, while countless records related to the war were also lost. Therefore, conspiracy theories, mystical theories, or hypotheses about extraterrestrial life also seize this opportunity to spread widely, flooding society. When a sensational news story like the Philadelphia experiment surfaces, it instantly sparks curiosity in everyone's minds. To miss this chance to gain fame, Before Z-Surf could finish their masterpiece, rumors of the Philadelphia experiment, believed to enable travel through time and space, spread like wildfire through the streets. From then on, a series of speculations and conspiracy theories emerged to answer questions such as: who is the main person in charge of this experiment? What theoretical foundation is it based on? What specific steps need to be taken to ensure the experiment's success? Here are the 2 natural English translation options. Choose one based on your preferred style. But later, he was dismissed for firmly refusing to approve direct testing. After that, John von Neumann replaced Nikola Tesla and conducted the experiment under military supervision. Moreover, this experiment was conducted based on Einstein's unified field theory, and he himself participated in the research during this trial. Einstein believed that the gravitational field and the electromagnetic field were closely interconnected. Like the relationship between matter and energy expressed by the formula E equals mc squared. Although Einstein did not delve deeply into the specific relationship between the gravitational field and the electromagnetic field. But the Philadelphia experiment proved that there is a positive connection between them. idea, using a massive coil system wrapped around the ship. The rotation direction of the coil is determined in sequence. After activating the power source, the generated electromagnetic field will warp spacetime around the ship's hull. The experimental results also spread in an astonishing manner. In fact, many people even believe this is closely linked to the appearance of aliens. For example, under the influence of an invisible energy field, some sailors were frozen and took 6 months for the ice to completely melt. Some sailors suffered burns from the fire and endured the pain for 18 days. After disappearing and then suddenly reappearing with the ship, the crew members became fused to it, with parts of their bodies even merging into the ship's molecular structure. Some even claim that the crew members possess supernatural abilities, capable of vanishing at any moment like the invisibility cloak in Harry Potter. Therefore, many people fear that this experiment could destroy the Earth, while also condemning the military for hiding the truth. At that time, upon noticing the increasingly one-sided distortion of the story, the U.S. Naval Research Laboratory promptly spoke out to refute the false rumors about the experiment. To answer the questions, they also put considerable effort into compiling documents containing factual information. However, from a purely time-based perspective, the Philadelphia experiment was impossible to occur. On October 28, 1943, the destroyer USS Eldridge was completely absent from Philadelphia. They even posted the travel journal from that day to put an end to all rumors. It is even more absurd to claim that the U.S. Naval Research Laboratory dominated the Philadelphia experiment, as this institution was only officially established in 1946, long after the alleged time of the experiment. At that time, both human software and hardware technology were insufficient to meet and execute the requirements of the Philadelphia experiment. These humorous folk tales and urban legends thus gradually came to an end. However, the official statement intended to clarify this issue was too superficial. What about the Institute of Early Death that was dissolved in 1959? Some people even suspect that this was a deliberate assassination plot targeting political dissidents. However, in reality, investigations by the Institute determined that the cause of death was severe depression stemming from disappointment over his previous writing career. He often confided to his friends that he no longer had any passion for life. Mystery_Core compiles and reports from the source coahc.tv.